All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive on service departments in Hong Kong
Okay.
and whether or not utilities are typically included in the rent.
Sounds good.
So the article that we're looking at is titled, Are Utilities, Water, Electricity, Typically Included in Service Apartment Rents in Hong Kong?
Okay.
And, maybe you're thinking about moving there, maybe just curious about this kind of unique housing situation.
Right.
So we're going to unpack some key takeaways. We'll see how service departments stack up against traditional rentals
Yeah.
and arm you with the knowledge to make an informed decision.
Cool. I like it.
Imagine you're arriving in a new city,
Yep.
super jet lagged, overwhelmed.
Yeah, for sure.
And now imagine that you don't even have to set up your utilities.
That'd be amazing.
That's what we're talking about here with a service department.
So convenient.
You often just bypass that hassle because they're bundled right into the rent.
Nice.
So before we get too deep into the nitty-gritty of bills, let's just take a step back. What exactly are we talking about when we say service department?
So they're fully furnished apartments,
Okay.
ready to move in,
Got it.
all the essentials.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker.
Okay.
They come with hotel-like conveniences,
Oh, nice.
like a gym,
Okay.
maybe even a pool.
So it's more than just like a furnished apartment then.
Exactly.
It's like a blend between like a hotel and a traditional rental.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's designed for convenience and flexibility.
Mm.
Makes it a popular choice for expats,
Right.
folks on short-term assignments,
Yeah.
or anyone who just values like a hassle-free living experience.
Right. That makes a lot of sense, especially in a fast-paced city like Hong Kong.
Yes.
Now let's talk about those bundled utilities.
Yeah,
Water and electricity are essential.
absolutely.
But could this actually translate to cost savings compared to a traditional rental?
Ooh, that's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
So on the surface, the service department rents might seem higher. But when you factor in that utilities are included,
Yeah.
sometimes even internet and cable,
Wow.
the overall cost becomes much more predictable.
Okay.
And in Hong Kong, where utility costs can fluctuate,
Right.
that predictability is a major plus for budgeting.
Yeah, for sure. So it's not just about the convenience then. It's
Mhm.
about having like a clearer picture of your monthly expenses.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like comparing apples to oranges if you only focus on that initial rent figure.
Yeah,
You avoid the surprise of like a high electricity bill in those hot summer months
for sure.
or a sudden spike in water costs.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, our source actually mentioned the unit Morrison Hill.
Well,
As an example, it's considered like a more affordable
okay.
service department option with utilities included.
Nice.
Now imagine trying to budget for a traditional rental and then you got to add those fluctuating electricity and water bills on top of that.
Oh, yeah. It could make things tricky,
Yeah.
especially for newcomers who aren't familiar with the average costs.
Speaking of those costs, let's break down the utilities themselves.
Okay.
Water quality isn't typically something you worry about when renting.
Right.
But I'm guessing it's a valid concern for somebody moving to a new country.
Absolutely.
So what's the situation like in Hong Kong?
Don't worry, Hong Kong boasts high water quality.
Okay, good.
It meets the World Health Organization standards.
Okay.
And here's the best part.
Okay.
In most service departments, you don't even have to deal with setting up a water account
Oh, nice.
or navigating those quarterly bills.
That's amazing.
Management often takes care of it for you.
Huge weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
No surprise bills just lurking in your mailbox.
Right.
Now, what about electricity?
Okay.
I know Hong Kong is like a vibrant, bustling city.
It is.
Does that translate to like sky-high electricity bills?
Well, electricity consumption in a city like Hong Kong is understandably high.
Okay.
But the good news is,
Okay.
with service departments, the cost is typically factored into your rent.
Oh, okay. So no need to stress about setting up an account with a local provider or trying to decipher a bill in a different language.
Not at all.
It's all about that streamlined experience.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's be real. It can't just be about the basics.
Right.
What about those extra perks that really sweeten the deal?
Ah, yes.
After all, we did mention those hotel-like amenities.
Those are where things get really interesting.
Okay, let's hear it.
We're talking gyms,
Okay.
sometimes pools,
Nice.
maybe even a spa facility.
Wow.
And in some cases, you might find service departments that offer concierge services.
Okay.
They take care of things like dry cleaning
Oh, wow.
or making dinner reservations.
So it's like having access to a mini hotel within your own living space.
Yeah, you could say that.
It definitely adds to the appeal,
Yeah.
especially if you value convenience and like a bit of luxury in your daily life.
It's about creating a comfortable
Yeah.
and convenient lifestyle.
For sure.
Service departments often cater to those who want that little something extra. I see. Whether it's a relaxing dip in the pool after a long day,
Right.
or the ability to, like, grab a quick workout without leaving the building.
It sounds like a great option for somebody who wants to simplify their life
Yeah.
and just maximize their free time.
Exactly.
But even with all these perks, location still matters, right?
Also, absolutely.
I mean, after all, we are talking about Hong Kong.
Location.
Right. So let's talk about some popular areas for service departments.
Okay.
Our source mentioned Causeway Bay as a top contender.
And it's popular.
It's known for its vibrancy and convenience, right?
Right. In the heart of the action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have Wan Chai,
Okay.
which seems to strike a balance between business and leisure.
Yeah. A good fit for professionals
Okay.
who want to be in the thick of things,
Right.
but still have access to a variety of leisure activities.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't forget Sim Shat Sui,
Of course.
the classic Hong Kong experience with its bustling shopping streets
Yeah.
and endless dining options.
A shopper's paradise.
Yes.
And a haven for foodies.
Okay. Now, for our budget-conscious listeners,
Okay.
our source suggests venturing a bit further out to areas like Lantau Island,
Right.
Yuen Long, and Tuen Mun.
Right.
What about those areas?
These areas offer a different pace of life,
Okay.
a bit more relaxed,
Right.
and potentially more affordable.
So it seems like there's something for everyone in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
no matter your budget or lifestyle preferences.
Absolutely. It's all about finding the right balance.
Okay, but before we get carried away with the allure of rooftop pools
Right.
and bustling neighborhoods,
Yeah.
let's address like the practical side here.
Okay.
Landlords and tenants,
All right.
who's responsible for what when it comes to those utilities?
That's an important point.
Yeah.
Typically, landlords are responsible for ensuring all utility services are up and running before you move in.
Okay,
They handle the initial setup.
got it.
And as we've discussed, often include the cost of basic utilities in the rent.
So far, so good.
Right.
But what about the tenants' responsibilities?
Okay.
Do they have any role in managing these utilities?
Well, while the landlord takes care of the initial setup,
Okay.
tenants are expected to use utilities responsibly
Okay.
and manage their consumption.
So it's a two-way street.
Exactly.
Landlords ensure everything is functional
Right.
and often cover basic usage,
Yeah.
while tenants are mindful of their consumption habits.
Exactly.
Now, in some cases, if a tenant exceeds agreed-upon usage limits,
Yeah.
they might be responsible for covering those additional costs.
Right.
So clear communication and a thorough understanding of responsibilities are essential.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to the legal side of things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our listeners are eager to delve into the nitty-gritty of tenancy agreements
Yeah.
and those all-important utility clauses.
It's important stuff.
But before we get there,
Right.
what stands out to you so far about service departments in Hong Kong? What's resonating with you?
Well, I think for me, it's the convenience factor.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you're moving to a new country,
Right.
a new city,
Yeah.
and you can just skip the
Yeah.
whole utility setup rigmarole.
Totally.
That's a huge win in my book.
It is.
Yeah.
And speaking of wins, what about those additional perks?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, rooftop pools with city views.
Yeah.
In-house gyms, concierge services.
Right.
It's almost like living in a hotel.
It's definitely a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
And for many people,
Right.
those amenities are a major draw.
Yeah.
You know, they can really elevate
For sure.
the quality of life,
Yeah.
especially in a bustling city like Hong Kong,
Right.
where personal space and time can be at a premium.
Yeah. I'm picturing myself after a long day heading up to the rooftop
Yep.
for a swim with those incredible city lights like twinkling around me.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a stress reliever.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. But of course, every rose has its thorns, right?
Right.
What about the legal side of things? Are there any potential pitfalls when it comes to those bundled utilities
Yeah.
and tenancy agreements?
That's where due diligence comes in.
Okay.
Just like any rental agreement.
Right.
It's crucial to read the fine print,
Okay.
especially those clauses related to utilities.
Right.
These agreements typically cover 2 to 3 years in Hong Kong.
Oh, wow.
And it's during those years that you want to be crystal clear on your responsibilities.
So what should someone be looking for specifically
Okay.
within those agreements?
Okay, so pay close attention to the utility clauses.
Got it.
They outline who is responsible for what,
Okay.
what's included in the rent,
Right.
and what might lead to additional charges.
Okay.
For example, some agreements might have caps on usage.
Okay.
And if you exceed that cap,
Right.
you might be responsible for the overage.
Got it.
It's all about transparency and avoiding any surprises down the line.
It sounds like a bit of legal know-how can go a long way
It really can.
in ensuring a smooth and stress-free experience. Are there any resources available for folks who might need guidance
Yeah,
in deciphering those agreements?
absolutely.
Okay.
The CMS Expert Guide is a great resource
Okay.
for understanding real estate finance law in Hong Kong.
Okay.
It can help navigate some of the more complex legal aspects.
Okay.
And for more general support, the government's Tenancy Matters Project
Okay.
offers free advice and assistance
Okay.
to both tenants and landlords.
Okay. So there's help out there if needed.
Yeah.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and circle back to the locations we touched upon earlier.
Okay.
We talked about the popular areas like Causeway Bay and Wan Chai.
Right.
But what about those seeking a slightly different experience?
Okay.
Perhaps in areas like Lantau Island, Yuen Long, or Tuen Mun?
Those areas offer a unique perspective
Okay.
on Hong Kong living.
Okay.
They tend to be more residential,
Right.
with a slower pace of life compared to the
Yeah.
hustle and bustle of the city center.
For sure.
And for many,
Yeah.
the appeal lies in the affordability factor.
It's like having the best of both worlds.
It is.
You're still in Hong Kong
Right.
with its incredible energy and opportunities,
Yeah.
but you're also able to enjoy a bit more tranquility
Right.
and potentially save some money on rent.
It's a trade-off for sure.
Yeah.
You might be a bit further from the city center,
Right.
but you might also have access to more spacious apartments
Okay.
or unique amenities like hiking trails and beaches.
And now let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
We know service departments offer convenience
Yeah.
and often include those luxurious amenities.
Right.
But does that always translate to a higher price tag
Hmm.
compared to a traditional rental?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the answer isn't always straightforward.
Okay.
While it's true that service departments can come at a premium,
Right.
especially those in prime locations
Right.
with top-notch amenities,
Yeah.
there are also more affordable options available. It really depends on your individual needs and priorities.
So it's not necessarily a black and white situation.
I know.
It's more about finding the right balance
Exactly.
between your budget, your desired lifestyle,
Yeah,
and the level of convenience you're seeking.
exactly. If you're on a tight budget,
Right.
you might prioritize a smaller studio apartment
Okay.
in a more affordable neighborhood,
Yeah.
even if it means sacrificing
Yeah.
some of those high-end amenities.
Makes sense.
But if you value convenience and a luxurious living experience above all else,
Right.
you might be willing to pay a bit more
Okay.
for a spacious apartment in a prime location
Right.
with all the bells and whistles.
It's like choosing between a stay
Yeah.
at a budget-friendly hostel versus a 5-star hotel.
I like that.
Both offer a place to sleep,
Yeah,
but the experience is vastly different.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It really captures the essence of the decision-making process.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's about weighing the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And finding the option that best aligns with your personal circumstances.
So what should someone consider when comparing the cost
Okay.
of a service department to a traditional rental?
Right.
What are the key factors to keep in mind?
First and foremost, consider the bundled utilities.
Okay.
As we discussed, they can make budgeting more predictable
Right.
and potentially save you money in the long run.
Okay.
Also factor in those additional amenities.
Okay.
They might not be essential,
Right.
but they can add significant value
Right.
to your living experience.
Yeah.
And finally, don't underestimate the intangible benefits,
Okay.
like convenience, flexibility, and peace of mind
Okay.
that comes with a hassle-free living arrangement.
Those are all excellent points.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in that initial rent figure,
It is.
but it's important to look beyond the surface
Yes.
and consider the overall value proposition.
Exactly. It's about making an informed decision.
Yeah.
That takes into account all the relevant factors.
And that's where this deep dive comes in handy.
It does.
We're providing our listener with the knowledge and insights.
Right.
They need to navigate this unique housing market with confidence,
Absolutely.
whether they're drawn to the allure of luxury living
Yeah.
or simply seeking a convenient and stress-free base in Hong Kong.
Right.
They now have a better understanding
They do.
of what service departments have to offer
Yeah.
and the key considerations involved in making the right choice.
We've given them the tools
Yes.
to weigh the pros and cons,
Right.
to compare costs,
Yeah.
and to ultimately choose the living arrangement
Yeah.
that best suits their needs.
Exactly.
And that's what the deep dive is all about.
Right.
Empowering our listeners with knowledge.
So to wrap up this segment,
Oh.
what are some key takeaways
Okay.
our listeners should keep in mind
Right.
as they ponder their options?
I'd say remember that service departments often come with bundled utilities,
Okay.
which can simplify budgeting and potentially lead to savings.
Okay.
don't underestimate the value of those additional amenities.
Right.
They can really enhance your living experience,
Yeah.
especially in a fast-paced city like Hong Kong.
Right.
And finally, always read the fine print
Okay.
of the tenancy agreement,
Got it.
paying close attention to those utility clauses.
Those are some golden nuggets of advice.
I try.
Now, before we officially conclude our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave our listener
Right.
with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay, shoot.
So, given the fast-paced dynamic nature of Hong Kong, is the convenience and potential luxury of a serviced apartment worth the potentially higher upfront cost?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And ultimately, the answer depends on your individual priorities and circumstances.
Right.
There's no right or wrong answer.
It's a personal decision.
Yeah.
And what matters most to one person
Right.
might be less important to another.
For some, the convenience of having utilities bundled into the rent and access to those fantastic amenities might outweigh the potential cost difference.
Yeah.
They might value the simplicity and the time saved,
Right.
allowing them to focus on work, exploring the city, or simply relaxing.
It's like choosing between a meticulously planned itinerary
Yeah,
and the freedom to wander and discover.
I like that.
Some people thrive on structure,
Right.
while others crave spontaneity.
Exactly. And there's no judgment in either approach.
Right.
It's about finding what works best for you.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the ins and outs of service departments and their bundled utilities to
Yes.
the allure of those luxurious amenities
Right.
and the importance of those tenancy agreements.
For sure.
We even ventured into the diverse neighborhoods of Hong Kong,
Yeah.
exploring the unique character of each area.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the service department landscape in Hong Kong.
It has.
And hopefully our listener now feels equipped
Yeah.
to navigate this market
Right.
with a newfound sense of confidence and clarity.
Whether they're drawn to the bustling energy of Causeway Bay,
Right.
the relaxed vibe of Lantau Island,
Yeah.
or the convenience of having a concierge at their beck and call.
It's all out there.
They have the knowledge to make an informed decision
They do.
that aligns with their lifestyle and budget.
We've given them the tools to weigh the pros and cons.
Yes, we have.
To compare costs.
Right.
And to ultimately choose the living arrangement that best suits their needs.
Absolutely.
And that's what the deep dive is all about, empowering our listeners with knowledge.
Well said. And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into service departments in Hong Kong.
It's been fun.
We hope you found it insightful, informative, and perhaps even a little bit entertaining.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Until next time, happy apartment hunting.